I should totally change my skin while you're doing this, and then you pop in and I'm someone else.
That'd be funny. Okay, I'm ready.
Nice vest. Oh, and the purple
Thank
tie?
you.
Very snappy.
Yeah, yeah.
Hello, this is Harold Halfdan, and welcome to Archaeological Minecraft. I'm a former archaeologist who enjoys playing Minecraft and thought it would be fun to combine the two. In today's episode, we're going to be doing something a bit different. In this episode, I'm doing a collaboration with Daskalos, where he's joining my Minecraft world, and I'm going to give him a bit of a tour, and we're going to talk shop. Daskalos also creates archaeologically themed Minecraft videos on YouTube and has a keen interest in Bronze Age Greece. So on the tour, I'm going to focus on one of my latest builds, the Great Tumulus of Macedon and the tomb of Philip II, King of Macedon. I dropped a link to his channel down in the description so you can check those out. With that background out of the way, let's pop into the episode and let's start the tour.
Where are we going?
Over this way. Let's
All
fly.
right.
Fly over this way. We
All right.
have to go through the Roman district
Oh,
on the way there. Sorry. I know you love the Romans.
yeah. Silly Romans, they don't even have a roof.
I know. Yeah, those Romans in Pompeii. They just, the volcano blew
Where'd
it
you
off.
go? Oh, there you are. Okay.
Mhm.
All right, yep. All right, I'm right above you.
Okay, I'll stay close to you then.
Okay.
Okay, well, we're gonna head this way over the ocean a little bit.
Okay. Maps?
Yeah. I do this in my videos where if I'm let's say talking about England or whatever, Great Britain or Iceland or whatnot, I've done these maps and then I could just kind of point to them
Oh,
to
nice.
where it is.
How long does it take you to do this?
So back when I did these, I didn't have my current process, so these took like 3 or 4 hours each because I was literally had on one screen a map, and then I would be like, okay, 1 down, 3 over, 4 down, 2 over, and then like placing
Oh,
an outline. So that sucked. Now I actually have a better methodology where I basically take Lightmatica and then I can upload a picture in Lightmatica. It then creates the outline, and then I can fill it in. That takes about 45
oh,
minutes to do.
nice.
Little ruins of the monastery, and then off in the distance on the left, that was I did an episode about how you walk fields and do like survey archaeology. So
Oh, yeah.
I made a big field and essentially walked it. So
Did you cover the archaeologists disregard for other people's property and the blatant trespassing that we do all the time?
well,
Because I'll tell
so
you, that's
this
some butt puckering moments for me.
yeah. I did talk about that a little bit. I mean, we would try back when I worked for the state. We would try and call first, and we would send
Right.
notices in the mail because we were a state agency, and so. But people wouldn't read their mail. People wouldn't answer
No.
the phone, and so yeah. So there were certainly times when people would be threaten to get a shotgun, and there
Oh,
was there was a time that someone, like, we were doing shovel tests out in this field, and someone let their I don't know if it was a cow, but we assumed it was a bull because it was kind of aggressive, and we hightailed it out of there. We grabbed our buckets
Mhm.
and ran. So
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Plenty of times I've been doing survey. We come up to a fence and
hmm
crew chief and everyone else just kind of goes through it. And I'm thinking, there's a
uh,
sign back there that says
no
no
trespassing.
trespassing.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know. Oh, we're just going over there. It's fine. Like,
Uh
oh,
huh.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And so yeah, I did touch on that. I didn't belabor it because I didn't,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's certainly
I mean, I've never
something.
heard of an archaeologist getting shot or anything. So,
No,
I mean,
exactly. And well, and we
no.
would just encourage people to call the cops because, like, by law we had to be there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, this is round or a ring fort, which is Irish
Oh, yeah.
over here,
Okay.
and then heading over this way here. I don't know if you can still.
You got a ship?
Yeah. So this is actually this was a concept. I never actually did an episode on this. Not that it's a spoiler or nothing. I kind of was thinking about at some point doing a short because the Romans would build, I mean, other ancient peoples, they'd build basically a bridge across water just with a whole bunch
Hmm.
of boats stacked up, and then they'd lay
Hmm.
planks over it. And so I was trying
Yeah.
to kind of conceptualize that out here, but the boats would never stay in place. And so, I was trying to figure out if I could mock up an actual, like, replica of a Roman ship. That's what this boat is here.
Hmm.
Um, and then just find a larger span of water, like an ocean, and just kind of like put planks over it. Because
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of historical stories about, whether it's emperors or whatever who just didn't want to walk on water, and they put like over
Yeah.
the
Well,
Bosphorus and whatnot.
it's funny you mentioned that because the video that's going out today, which this will kind of give away when we're recording this, is my building the Byrene video where I actually talk about when Xerxes does that at the Hellespont, where
Oh,
he
totally. Yeah, yeah.
builds, where he does the pontoon bridge with the boats, and how he gets pissed off at the Hellespont and
Yeah,
tries to enslave the Hellespont god and stuff. So yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah, it's one of those things that like it was a great concept, and I was like, oh, this will be cool for like a little minute long short, and then
Hmm.
I just couldn't keep the boats stable enough during the recording, and it just kind of got fiddly. So I just but
Yeah.
I may return to it.
Hmm.
I
Okay.
may at
Yeah.
some point do like an episode. It's kind of on my list to at some point do an episode of like here's 5 different historic boat designs, of different
Yeah.
ages, kind of
Yeah.
thing, and then maybe do
Well, if you
like
want, blueprints of, or not blueprints, but because it's all done by pen and paper, but if you want the blueprints of my Mycenaean Type 6 ships, I think is the ones I did for Pylos. They were the Type 6 ships, and then I also
yeah.
did the Minoan style ones for Domini as well.
Yeah, that would be awesome, and
Yeah.
I can shout out your video then and
Yeah.
point people to that. That would be great.
Yeah.
So it's not too much further.
Okay.
It's over this way. This little thing over here. This is a little dirt, like a turf house. So it's like Viking
Oh, okay.
era
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Iceland turf house, and so I was I figured everyone does videos about longhouses, but no one really does a turf longhouse. So I'd kind of riff on
Right.
that a little bit.
You're right.
Okay, so this is
Well, and turf houses are really what you do for your first house in Minecraft, anyways.
exactly, exactly. So this up here on this hill. So this is the Great Tumulus here.
Oh, okay.
So and this was one of those I did light Matica on this. So the actual terrain of the hill is the actual terrain and topography of the hill. So I
Nice.
like one of those articles had a shot that I found of the actual typography. So what I did is using kind of a light Matica trick, kind of like what I was doing with the map art. I then was able to kind of go level by level up through the meters to then put the exact terrain of what it looked like. So this,
Nice.
it's exactly this high. The top of the terrain's exactly this dimension, so that the hill actually looks like the real hill in real life.
Nice. Yeah.
And then that also helped me place where exactly in the hill, under the hill, the actual tombs were as well.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
um, this little bit here, not necessarily artistic liberty, but the entrance here to Tombs 3, which is on the rightmost side, Tomb 2, which is in the center, and then that kind of the modern entrance is kind of this sandstone color, and
Hmm.
so that's essentially why I replicated it like I did.
Okay.
Just so
Yeah.
so the entrances are kind of the modern visitor entrances. The flowering plants around there. There's actually some pink flowering plants and bushes on each side today. Like if you would go and visit it today, like so that's
Hmm.
why I picked kind of what that looks like. So it's a little bit of a hybrid of what it looked like today versus
Right.
kind of what it looked like maybe then. But I have no idea what it looked like then. Like who
Yeah. Yeah.
knows what
Yeah.
what the
Yeah. No
plants
one
looked
really
like.
knows. Yeah.
So that's instead of it just being this, I did a joke kind of at the beginning of that episode of my episode for part 1 being like, I'm going to build a big dirt mound, have fun with this,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So, because, it's one of these things that like, it's a super cool archaeological site in my opinion, but it's like in Minecraft, it is just a dirt mound with some small
Yeah.
little structures
Yep.
embedded
Yep.
in it. So, and then Tomb 1 is around the corner here, and I kind of flagged where, because that's truly underground. It's a kiss tomb, and so like these 2 little dirt blocks, are hiding that. So it's under that,
Okay.
and then this area here, these ruins, that wouldn't have been there during Philip's time because this is a hero shrine that was built after,
Ah.
and then it was I believe it was an invasion of Gauls that destroyed this later.
Ah. Okay.
So So I just kind of replicated what the kind of modern ruins would look like a little bit, but didn't really talk about this at all in my video. But yeah, but just to kind of fill out the ambience of the place.
Yeah, yeah, make it a little more interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then over here was kind of a whole bunch of armor stands for me just to describe. Here's the family tree, you know. Here's
Oh yes.
and it's like here's all the people that were assassinated. Here's all of his wives. Here's where their
Yeah.
kids were, you know, who killed
Yeah.
who.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah, the whole War of the Successors thing is such a weird bunch of like you talk about like the twists and turns of Game of Thrones, man. Nah. This War of the Successors just like would completely dwarfs that.
oh yeah, oh absolutely, and it's crazy to me how people reoccur, right? So it's like the generals that were some of Philip's generals become Alexander's generals, and then once he dies, they become successor
Yeah.
kings, and then there's the Civil War, and then they get killed. But it's like these people spanned decades and decades,
Oh yeah.
and it really was like a Game of Thrones kind of thing. It's like
Yeah.
you almost expect Littlefinger to pop up and be like, "Ha, chaos is a ladder. I'm taking over."
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So
Okay.
so the let's open up the Kiss tomb here. So this I don't know. It's very small. I mean, not maybe small for a Kiss tomb, but it's small from a Minecraft perspective, you know. So,
Yeah.
and then that's Hades abducting Persephone. So that actually is the real frieze on the wall in this exact Kiss tomb in real life. With one of the theories being that Philip II, Cleopatra, and his infant son are buried here, and then
Hmm.
other people say no, and it's just someone else buried here.
Right. Right.
So, but I don't know. I the, the people with this theory, I find it interesting that the Greek the how was the Greek antiquity department has like disavowed this theory because they for whatever reason they don't think this one's accurate. I don't know which one's the reality or not,
Right.
myself, but I do find it kind of compelling that you know Philip gets assassinated, Olympias kills off Cleopatra right after right after Cleopatra has Philip's infant son. So it's like it's so compelling that like in this kiss tomb, which is a style of tomb that would date to when Philip would have died, is all the individuals match the historical ages of people that you could historically be appropriate for that. So that
Right.
like
Right.
that to me is so compelling, but yet there's like other stuff in Tomb 2 that you're just like, oh well, that makes sense too.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
and even Philip, like he had historically like that wound to his leg that like killed his horse he was even riding on, and this guy in this tomb has a spear hole through his knee.
Right.
And so
Right.
it's like even the wound in theory matches up. So I don't know. Personally, I think this is kind of compelling, but who knows,
Yeah.
in
Right.
real
Right.
life.
Hmm.
So this
Yeah.
one here is Tomb 2. And like with Tomb 1, this is the frieze, the hunting frieze that's
Ah, yeah.
over this tomb is the actual one in the actual real tomb.
Okay.
And so
Yeah,
yes,
and I have some issues too with the one theory, like, oh well, it has lions on it, so therefore it can't be from this
right,
time. It's like, dude, they knew about lions beforehand. Like,
exactly.
like, come on, man. Like, get out of here with that.
Right,
Like they make
precisely.
reference to lions in the Iliad, and that was written down in the 8th century. So like, no, your theory doesn't hold water.
Yeah, exactly. I think that there's some stuff with the interpretation with Tomb 2 that exactly right. It's just, you know, like, oh, it's a barrel vaulted tomb, so that must have been Persian influence, or,
Right.
it's a hunting frieze, that must be Persian influence. And it's like, like there were, the Persians invaded Greece and Macedonia way before
Yeah.
Philip, and so it's like there was tons of context. I think the interpretation of Macedon being on the fringes, a backwater, is just to me doesn't hold water.
No, no, it doesn't. It really doesn't. And then on top of that, like, you know, hunting scenes have been around since since long before
Exactly.
this. So I mean, to make the jump from having a hunting scene on like a dagger to a hunting scene on the wall, or a hunting scene on the wall, which was at Pylos and Mycenae and all those other places, like well before this. Like, yeah, no, it's I don't know. So, well, you know how it goes, right? Because you're an archaeologist. You want to make a name for yourself. What do? You challenge some well established belief, and you get your little 15 minutes of fame, and people believe it, and then you're in the books.
Yeah,
And so
exactly.
so yeah, to make a claim like this, knowing that your theory is basically a colander, it's not gonna, yeah, it won't fly. But it gets your names in the books, and obviously we're talking about it. So yeah, good job on that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and it's not like every challenged theory. I mean, just to play the counterpoint, because I think you're absolutely right. But just to, there is times to challenge established theory
Oh
too,
yeah,
and I think that's an important thing in any field, but archaeology certainly. But
yeah.
I mean, yeah, back when I was more in academia, when I got my master's, it was like you'd talk to professors or other people in the field, and you'd have the definitive guy around this type of, or this,
Yep.
the definitive expert about this type of thing, whether it's, an artifact type or an architectural type or a structure type. And it's like they wrote the book on it. And it's like, well, you couldn't question them until like after they retired or died,
Yep.
you know?
Yep.
And it's just like, no one would dare, and you're just like, well, but why? Like
Yeah,
either
exactly.
they're right or they're wrong. Let's actually look at the merits, and with new evidence, maybe it should be
Yeah.
reinterpreted. And
Yeah.
that's why I think like the good experts are always looking at questioning even their own stuff to make
Yeah,
sure that we're.
absolutely.
Oh, I mean that's what science is all about. So in this tomb, so antechamber, much larger than normal. And I kind of put these, I named them. So it's like there was a
Mhm.
golden bow case, um, some bronze greaves. Uh, this was a golden, a golden
A
chest.
Larnax. Yeah,
Yep.
Larnax.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. So that's why I used the yellow shulker, because I couldn't make a gold
Yeah.
chest. And then
Mhm.
the main chamber then had this, ivory decorated shield, and then it had an iron helmet, an iron
Mhm.
breastplate, and then this, in theory, would be, the same thing, the remains of Philip II, potentially,
Mhm.
or Alexander's half brother, potentially. Um,
Mhm.
but in there was also this golden wreath as well. So
Right.
that's and then there was the scepter, which was interesting. So the scepter I didn't really talk about too much in my video, but the
Mhm.
scepter was one that like the original archaeologist mentioned it, but then it kind of disappeared. And then he was asked about it a bunch, and it was like, and then he gave this response. It's like, oh, it just disintegrated. But people have pointed again to like maybe Persian influence, because there's Persian coins and whatnot with a Persian leader holding a scepter, and then Alexander in some of his later coins after he conquers Persia starts holding a scepter. And
Right.
so like before that, in Macedonian rulers didn't necessarily have scepters in
Right.
their art. So it's one of these things that people are like kind of lamenting the fact. It's like, man, if we could actually study it or see it, was it really a scepter? Was it not a scepter? Was it just a
Right.
pole? Just a wooden pole that like, but it's gone. Like no one knows
Yeah.
where it is. So
Right. Yeah. Well, and scepters weren't unheard of either,
right.
prior to the Persian, to the invasion of Persia. So, I mean, like it could have easily been hey, you know what it could be? It could be part of the spear shaft that took out Philip's knee. Who
there,
knows?
there, there you go.
Maybe he had that thing. I mean, I would have that thing framed if it were me.
Exactly. Just
Yeah.
like hang it over the mantelpiece. Be
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
this couldn't take me down.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Walk around with it in your hand all the time. Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
That's right. Well, and because he's lame, he could use it as a walking stick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Precisely.
Yeah. But
Um.
I will say this, Minecraft brought these pots, into the game, and these things are like dead ringers for a Minecraft Pithoi. Like
Mm-hmm.
spot on.
Mm-hmm.
Someone had to have thought of that when they made these. I mean, there's no other way. It works out just way too well.
So
Yeah.
this is Tomb 3 here. So it did have a frieze above it in back when it was first built, but it's all gone now. So who knows what
Yeah.
it actually looked like.
And this was the one that was looted. Yeah.
No. So
No,
sorry. So
two.
Tomb 1 was looted. Tomb
Well, okay. Yeah.
2 and Tomb 3 were completely intact.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
And so this has an antechamber and then a main chamber, and then this is where um, the consensus is pretty much that Alexander the Fourth, so Alexander the Great's son, is buried here.
Okay.
And so again, has a skeleton and has a golden wreath in this one as well,
Mm-hmm.
of a slightly different style. So
Okay.
yeah, but less decoration, but I think it's probably likely that if Alexander, like when Alexander the Fourth died, like I don't know how much energy they would have taken to decorate his tomb, because at that
Right.
point it was who was it? Cassander, I think, was in
Yeah.
charge.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That guy was a dirtbag. Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
it just
Real dirtbag. Because I didn't Cassander kill Alexander the Fourth?
yeah he did
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah
That's
yeah
yeah. Real dirtbag.
yeah and
Real dirtbag.
yep, and then he killed Alexander the Great's stepbrother and his wife, and so it's like he was just taking out. Oh, hello, cow. He was just taking out the royal family,
Yeah.
which I guess from Cassandra's perspective, that's what you got to do. That's like that's what you know. That's what
Yeah. You're creeping me out, man. Stop it. Okay.
he's just gonna stare at you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I thought about with all the frescoes and stuff at Pylos,
hmm
I was thinking about doing map art to cover all the walls, which would have taken me forever.
Yeah. It takes
Um,
a lot of time. I mean, the to do this by scratch would have literally been 40, 60 hours. As it was, doing all this probably took 8 to 10 hours, because
yeah.
each one of these map segments was easily 45 minutes to an hour to place all the blocks, but
Jeez.
at least each one of these map segments, in Lightmatica was, you're following a design, then you're not having to spend a
Yeah.
whole bunch of time looking back and forth. Yeah. So the one in Tomb 2 is, one tall, 5 long. And then
Hmm.
this other one on the opposite side, which is, Hades abducting Persephone, that's 1 tall and 3 wide.
Okay.
So,
Jeez. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so
Well, and when I was doing Pylos, I was like, oh, I could do map art for the walls, and then I realized how big a single map was and how little of the wall it covered and how much material it was going to take.
oh yeah, exactly. Well, and if you're doing it in creative, that's so much easier than doing it in
Yeah.
survival, because survival you're then finding all the different kinds of blacks,
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
in the right quantities, where in creative you're just yeah, you have to place it, but you're just pulling
Yeah.
it out of thin air.
Yep. The complex that I'm building, the citadels and the defensive positions that I'm going to be building for season 2 is 300 blocks across
Mm,
and 150 wide.
yep.
And the walls in some places are going to be 7 blocks across. And which I'm not, I mean, they're going to be hollow, obviously. I'm not crazy, but but like, yeah, I was looking, I don't know if you saw in the Discord, I posted a picture of the like the sandstone big rectangle, and I was in the middle of the rectangle at a really high height with my render distance turned all the way up, and the edges were just within render. And I'm going, oh man, what am I doing to myself?
Oh, I had similar problems when I built Cahokia, which I ended up just building on a super flat world, but it's the whole main downtown area, Cahokia,
Oh, okay.
and so I built it on a super flat world because it just there was never going to be an actual mine, because
No.
it's thousands of blocks,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and the mounds are especially the main one, or not the main one, there's Monk's Mound, and then
Yep. Mhm.
easily I think 2,000 blocks to the south was another mound that I wanted to talk about, where they found the Birdman in that mound. So it's like there was no option but to do it in super flat. But yeah, the max render distance I couldn't see really from one side to the other, and so
Yeah.
doing the time lapse, the replay mod time lapse of that being built, you can see in the video that it's like it isn't rendering the full distance. You're only seeing what's around my character at that point. So I had to really tweak while doing my editing, like where the camera was located, or else it would just be located in an area that wasn't rendered, and then you see nothing at that point.
Yeah. And Minecraft is a great medium. I mean, really, when you think about it, right? Because like if you offered this world for download for people to like walk around and have like interpretive trails and stuff, the teaching element of it is just it's just unlimited. It's limitless in this world. To be able to walk around some of these places. And see, even if it's just the video game, and even if it's just a screen in front of you, the fact that you're walking up to it, it's rendering in, coming out of the fog, like there's a different feel to it. It hits a little different than going to an archaeological site like at Chaco or Mesa Verde, and seeing sort of what remains of it,
right?
Versus fully built. And populated. I think that one's a cool one too. Like you go to Pylos, you walk through the palace, you're going to run into villagers all over the place.
Right.
It's not empty. It's not, it's bustling.
This is actually one of my favorite builds, this Crannog.
Oh yeah, that's pretty nice.
This one was cool. This is actually a replica of a Crannog in Wales. I think it's the only Crannog found in Wales. And I was able to, with this video, like if you would dig down into it, you would see actually how it was built. So I was able to, using Minecraft blocks, basically replicate the construction technique used to then build the artificial island, the Crannog, or build off of the real island with artificial island expansion of what a Crannog really looked like. But yeah, so past that, over in this area here was the Terramar village. But the Terramar built all of their houses up on stilts, essentially to keep it all off the water. So essentially, they were in like a heavily floodable area, is where their whole. So I basically replicated that. So all the kind of houses up on stilts, and then and then they were protected by these, basically these earthen mounds with kind of palisade walls around it.
I also noticed that without fail, of course, villagers get stuck in the pens.
Oh yeah, they find their way in. I had them all like in houses, and but yeah, no, they all just get, and then they all just gathered here. I don't know what's with this watchtower over here, but but like they did this before so I built all this, put the villagers where they should go in theory for the video, and then they all migrated to here, and then I kind of, before my video, had to prune the villagers and then put them again where they should go to then film it, and then now they've since my video's over, they've now all migrated back here again. So there's something about these specific areas that they like to go to.
Yeah, maybe it's the high points. I don't know.
Could be.
Yeah, I've noticed that the villagers in the Skyblock series really seem to like to climb up on the walls and on the roof of the houses.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though there's doors for them to go out of, they really like the roofs. And yeah, it's bizarre.
Yeah, pathfinding isn't their strong suit.
Well, that wraps up this video. I hope you enjoyed watching. I want to thank Daskalos for taking the time to join my world, taking a tour of the place, and chatting for a bit. Please go out and check out his channel. It has some really unique archaeological content there. Make sure you take the time, if you like the video, to like, subscribe, and all that stuff. And if you want to see more videos from my channel, please check those out here. Thanks. Have a good rest of your day. Bye for now.